Hello everybody, today I'll be doing a Battle Cats seed tracking video on how the seed track was recently updated, and I also will be giving you tips and tricks to seed track as it'll be all condensed into one video. And I'll have timestamps in the video below if you want to skip to a specific part, as if you already know some details about seed tracking you could just skip to the tips section, and if you want to know completely how to find your seed, then you can just continue watching this video. So the first thing I'm going to go over is what is seed tracking in the Battle Cats. So you first have to understand how the normal banners work in the Battle Cats. So let's just take this set for example, Dark Heroes. When I load up this set, if I use a rare ticket, I have a chance to get a unit. You can see the chances right here. You can see the chances right here on the screen. 5% chance for an Uber, 25 for a super rare, 69.7 for a rare, and 0.3 for a legend rare. So what seed tracking does is you wouldn't have to roll this banner to know what you were going to get. Where if you weren't seed tracking, you would just roll and basically hope you would get something good. Well, if you're seed tracking, you know exactly what you're going to get. So instead of just rolling and gambling, you know what you're going to get. So you strategize around that so you can guaranteed get the units that you want. Now, that's what your seed is. Your seed is basically your own custom variant, because everybody has their own different set. Like, if I roll this banner, I'm going to get a different unit than whatever you get, obviously. And that's just because we have different seeds. That's what your seed is. So in order to seed track, you need to find your seed. So in order to do that, you need to have 10 rare tickets. Now, you can also use an 11 draw or like a discounted 11 draw, but in my opinion, this is a lot more confusing. So I would just recommend getting 10 rare tickets. Now, once you have 10 rare tickets, you'd need to get a piece of paper, just something in order to write your tracking down so you don't forget them. What you're going to do is you're going to choose any banner in the game. Mind you, this has to be the exact same banner. So you can't just roll 10 tickets, like 5 tickets, because you need 10 tickets, right? You can't just roll 5 and then say, oh, I'm going to change banners to this other banner. Your seed will not come back accurate if you do that. So you have to stick to the exact same banner with all 10 rolls. So let's just say I chose the Dark Heroes. So what you would do then is, for the Dark Heroes, you would write 1 as the first spin. You would write numbers 1 through 10. And each spin that you pulled, your first spin, you would put 1 and then whatever unit you pulled. For example, I'll say on the first spin I pulled Pogo Cat. So you'd put 1 Pogo Cat. Second spin, say you pulled Viking Cat, you'd put 2 Viking Cat, and you just keep doing that in chronological order. And if 3, you pull the super rare, you put 3 in the name of the super rare. You just keep doing that all the way for your 10 spins. Now, and I also would recommend writing down the date you are rolling this banner, because if you don't intend to seed track on the exact date that you wrote down these 10 units you pulled, the seed tracking website changes banners. So you want to make sure that you're on the correct banner of that date. So you'd also write down the banner. As I'm recording this, it's June 19th. So you would also want to write down the banners if you don't intend on finding your seed right away. But if you do, you don't have to. This is up to you. Now what you're going to do is you're going to open the Battle Cat seed tracking website. And what this is going to look like is this page right here. So what you're going to do once you're on this page is click Seed Finder. Now, once you're on the Seed Finder section, you have this big banner on the top here that says Event, and you'll see the date on the left right here. The left date is when it starts. The right date is when it ends. And basically, whatever banner you rolled during this time, you want to make sure you change it to this specific banner. So for this one, I use the Dark Heroes, which you can see right here. Started on the 18th, ends on the 20th. So I'd click that one. Okay, this is just the banner I use as an example. Whatever banner you used, you would put that there. Now you scroll down, and this is what changed about the Battle Cat seed tracking website, is there's this new option called Seeker Vampire Flower. So you no longer need to wait for your seed anymore. Once you find your seed, it's instantaneous. So you used to have to wait in a queue for like maybe 2 hours, maybe 30 minutes. Now that's completely gone. Do not change the Seeker off Vampire Flower. Keep it on that. And then what you would do is you would just put those 10 units. So like for me, an example, I said the first cat would be Pogo Cat. So I'd come down and put Pogo Cat. The second example I used was Viking Cat. So I'd come down, put Viking Cat. And anyway, you would just keep doing that until you filled in all those 10 spins. Now, after you click your 10 spins, it should pop up saying your seed is. Now, once that pops up, it is very, very important that you keep in mind what the seed says. There'll be 3 seeds that pop up. It'll say one is your seed after hitting a guaranteed 11 draw, one is something else, and like a step event, up event. But make sure, what is very important, that the first seed that pops up is going to be the most important one. So now I'm going to open. So now what you can do is, I'll just show this actually right here, is you're going to go back after you find your seed. You're going to go back to the main portion of this website, and then you're going to click seed tracking website. So now what you're going to do is whatever seed you got, you obviously need to write that down or screenshot it because it's very important. So make sure you do not lose that. Once you have that seed, your seed does not change. So you will never need to find that again. Then what you would do is you would put in your seed in this box right here that says seed. So my seed is 1138653200. And then after you did that, you would just click roll. Okay? And then boom, that's the first, that's the track. That's how you find your seed. Now these first 10 spins on the A track are going to be the first 10 spins you put into that seed finder page. So keep that in mind. Now the super rares might be different because like on the screen that you're viewing, because super rares do actually change from banners. So the super rares are not going to be the same all the time, but the rares will be. And then that's basically how you seed track. And then you would just use rare tickets to progress the track until you get ones to get units that you wanted to. But this is where the tips section comes in. That's really all it is to like actually get the seed tracking. Now I'm going to talk about how to use the seed tracking website. The most important part, really. So now that you have the seed tracking website on, there's a couple things you need to know about what colors mean. So I'll show those very quickly. So you have this darkish yellow right here, which is a guaranteed super rare no matter what banner it is. So you could switch banners, it'll be a super rare. But the super rare might change depending on the banner, so keep that in mind. And then obviously the white are all rare cats. Now you have these reds here. This red is a guaranteed uber rare, meaning this is a guaranteed uber rare slot. So if I didn't want Dassalan, okay, from the Dragon set, if I swapped to the Almighty set, this would now be an Almighty. Okay, so this is an Uber slot. So if you didn't want this Uber, just switch banners to get a different Uber. Now you can't change, like, say if I switched to the Almighties and this was Hades and I didn't want Hades, well, you can't switch him again. So you'd have to wait for another banner to come out, or just say, oh, I'll get a Hades and exchange him. That's really all you can do. Now if you see right here, another color is this pinkish color. What this color means is only during Uberfest or Epic Fest events will this be an Uber rare. So this is how you would maximize getting Ubers, is saving these pink slots until you have an Epic Fest or Uberfest, and then you would use your rare tickets on these to get a guaranteed Uber rare. And then there's 3 more colors we need to discuss. So now this right here is a lightish yellow, meaning during like a Super Rare Fest, an Uber Rare Fest, and Epic Fest, this is a guaranteed super rare. Not that important, but if you want to get a boosted super rare, this is how you would do it. And now there's a couple other colors I'm going to just show. And let me switch tracks, actually. Let me switch to the Platinum track just to showcase this one. Another color is blue. Blue is the exclusive fest. These are the best of the best Ubers. These are going to be the Castleys, the Fanoas. These are going to be the units that you want to go for. And they're going to be blue, as they are exclusive only. Now, and the last slot, which is the easiest to understand, is purple slots. Purple slots are going to be legend rare slots. Now, I don't actually have a track with a legend rare slot, so I'm going to have to expand this just to show you how it looks, because I just want to guarantee, because I'll talk about it when I get to it, but for legend tickets it works a little differently. So you can see right here, purple is a legend rare slot. Okay, now a lot of people don't understand actually how to get the units they want. So if you wanted to go get the best units in the game, you wouldn't wait for an Uberfest or an Epic Fest to just have the chance to pull those units, because these units are still extremely rare to pull. So what you would do is, I'll show this as a perfect example. Say you're on a normal track. Actually, no, let me not use this one as an example. I'll use this one. I'm going to talk about that later. So this is a perfect example. So if I look at my Platinum Fest, so that's what you would do. You would have a Platinum, you would have one tab open with your Platinum track, and then another tab open with whatever banner was active at that time. For me, the active banner right now would be Dark Heroes. So let me just go display that, just so I don't confuse anybody. This will be Dark Heroes. Okay, and your platinum ticket changes every time the game is updated. So keep that in mind. Well, not every time the game is updated, every time a new unit is added into the game, which is basically every time the game is updated. So as you can see right here, I have a Luna at 7A, and then I also have a Shadow Gal and Baby Gal at 32A. But let's say right here, King of Doom Fanoa. Okay, we want him at 36A. So what we would do is we would just keep rolling on our rare track, on our 8 track, with rare tickets until we hit 36A. So what you would do is, there's no track swaps. I'll explain what a track swap is very quickly. Let me scroll down if I can find one. Let me see. I might need to expand the track to actually show a track swap. I'm hoping I don't have to, but... Okay, right here. This is what a track swap looks like. So you would see this little arrow. What this means is you will swap from whatever track you're currently on. So if there's an arrow right here, it'll be pointing to the right, and you'll swap to the B track, and the B track will be pointing to the left, and you'll swap to the A track. What this does is this changes what track you're on. So right here, if I rolled this second, and how this happens is if you pull back-to-back rare cats, and you hit an 11 draw guaranteed Uber. So make sure if you don't want to switch tracks, do not hit any 11 draws guaranteed Ubers, because you will switch tracks 100%. So as you can see right here, when I pull these back-to-back Matador cats, which are the same rare units, I will switch tracks. So how you would avoid this, and unfortunately the only way you can avoid this, is by using a platinum ticket. Now, this is what really sucks about the Battle Cats, is if you purchase a legend ticket, you are forced to use your legend ticket before platinum tickets. So you are going to have to waste your best possible ticket to skip a track. That's why I recommend not buying legend tickets before you actually check your tracks, because if there is a track swap, you are unfortunately going to have to waste that legend ticket to skip the track swap. Unless you just waited to buy it and then use a platinum ticket to skip the track swap, and then you could use whatever you wanted the legend ticket on below that. But as you can see right here, if I started at 0A, there's no track swaps to get to 36B. So what I would do then is, I would keep rolling up until 36B. After I pulled Jurassic Cat at 35A, then what I would do is you look at the platinum track I have open. Oh, at 36A, I have King of Doom Fanoa. So after you pulled Jurassic Cat, you would not spin 36A, which is Swordsman Cat. You would not spin that. If you spun that, you would not get Fanoa Cat. So after you spun Jurassic Cat, then what you would do is you would go hit your platinum ticket and you would get King of Doom Fanoa. This is how you're going to get these extremely rare Ubers. You're not going to get them from just selecting the Uberfest banner and rolling down until you find one of these units, because the chance they appear is so minuscule. So minuscule. This is how you're going to get these best units. As you can see right here, I already have 3 of these extremely rare units within 9 spins of each other. So if I had 3 platinum tickets, I could just go get each and one of these platinum tickets. So if I wanted to get Baby Gout 32A, what I would do is, at 31A, after I pulled Freshman Cat Jobs, I would then pull a platinum ticket at 32A, and then I would go back to ripping rare tickets. And then if I wanted Shadow Gout 34A, I would rip Weightlifter Cat, and after you pulled him, then you would go use a platinum ticket, get Shadow Gal, and then you would use a rare ticket to pull Jurassic Cat at 35A, and then you say you want Dark Fanoa, you would then pull a platinum ticket at 36A. Now this is how you're going to get these insanely overpowered units. Now let's talk about Legend Track. The Legend Track is very different from the Platinum Track, as it has the exact same Ubers, so you might be asking yourself how it's different. Well, there's a 7% chance you pull a Legend Rare. And it's not actually just, it doesn't change any units on the track. What it does is, your Uber Rare slots, which we talked about, are dark red. On the Legend ticket track, they will change to guaranteed Legend Rares. So, as you can see right here, at 32B, I have a Legend Rare. And if I go back to my normal track, or not 32, 13B, excuse me, and if you see at 13B, I have an Uber slot. So that's what the Legend tickets do. So if you wanted to get a Legend ticket, a Legend out of a Legend ticket, you would just simply roll one before the unit you wanted. I'll show another example. Let's say you wanted Wonder Momoko, okay, right? So you would roll 17A. Let's see what 17A is. Okay, 17A is Valter Cat. So after we pulled Valter Cat, you would not roll another rare ticket. Then what you would do is, if you wanted Wonder Momoko, you would then use a legend ticket and you would get your legend rare. Now, let's say you didn't want her. Well, then you could just roll the Uber and then keep going until you wanted to get to another Uber, which would be at 45A. And then if you see, then what you would do is you would pull Bishop Cat at 44A, and then you would hit your legend ticket. So that's all there is for legend tickets. Now, I want to also explain 11 draw guarantees, as this is very complicated, and this was easily the most confusing part for me when I first started playing seed tracking. So how 11 draw guaranteed works is, it's quite simple. Think of it as, when you're hitting an 11 draw, you're not rolling 11 times, which sounds a little confusing. What you're doing is, you're rolling an 11 draw if there's no 11 draw guaranteed. I just want to make that clear. If there's no 11 draw guaranteed, nothing changes. But if there is, what changes is that you roll actually 10 times. And the 11th draw is when you get your guaranteed Uber. So instead of spinning 11 times, you're spinning 10 times. And the last spin is a track swap. And I want to make it very clear how 11 draw works, because it's very confusing looking at this chart. You might not have no idea what this works, how this works. So I'm going to give you a very clear example. Let me find Yukimura on here, because he's obviously a very wanted war god. Let me find him. Let me see where he's at. Okay, Yukimura. Right here. If you see, at 25A, we pull a Yukimura, and that would send us to 35B. So you would think, oh, I'll just pull Cat Base Mini, and then hit an 11 draw guaranteed. Well, that's not how this works. Because remember, when you hit an 11 draw, you're spinning 10 times. Not 11 times. So, if you wanted Yukimura, what you would do is, after you pulled Swordsman Cat, then you would hit your 11 draw if you wanted Yukimura. If you spun at 25A thinking you're going to get Yukimura, you would not get Yukimura, you would get the unit underneath it. It's a very confusing thing, but just think that instead of spinning 11 times, you're spinning 10 times. But when you start the 11 draw, that's when you're using the next spin. So if you're at 23A and you hit an 11 draw, what you're technically doing is you're not spinning 24A, you're spinning the unit directly, like diagonal to the unit. As you can see, it's directly diagonal. So if I spun at 23A, I would pull Kenshin. If I spun at 24A, I would then pull Yukimura. You can draw a diagonal line in between the units you want. It's a very confusing thing, but just keep in mind, you have to be the box behind it. It's a little confusing to explain, so I hope I did that right. I'm going to do another example on the B track. As you can see right here, the B track, say I was on 44B, and I wanted Shingen, right here. I would not spin Shingen. I would not spin Stilts Cat. After you spin Kodazuku Cat, excuse me, if I pronounced that wrong, then if you pulled an 11 draw, you would hit Shingen. So just think of it as the 11 draw you want is what you're spinning for once you press that ticket. So if I'm at 40A and I hit an 11 draw, that's when I would be pulling Yukimura. And if I was at 43A and pulled an 11 draw, I would be pulling Masume. I pronounced that wrong, probably. I apologize. I'm very bad with names. So I hope I explained that to you clearly and you understood it. That is easily the most confusing part about seed tracking, is the 11 draws. We could also talk about ways to skip tracks. As I already talked about, the easiest way to skip tracks is by pulling a back-to-back rare cat, which you have no control over. A way you do have control over is pulling an 11 draw guaranteed, which we talked about. And there is no way to get past a track swap. So as you can see right here, at 90B, or at 88B, excuse me, I have a track swap. I cannot skip this track swap unless I use a platinum ticket. And how you would skip this track swap is, after you pulled the first Matador Cat at 87B, you would then use your platinum ticket. Now, this is the only way you can, like, especially say I wanted White Knight Cyclops. Say this wasn't White Knight Cyclops. Say this was a legend rare. I cannot do anything but hit a legend or a platinum ticket at 88B, or a legend ticket, which you would have to sacrifice, unfortunately. So that does suck. But say you wanted a unit a little bit below that. Say I wanted Catman. If I was 11 spins away, I could switch to the A track and then roll an 11 ticket before to switch back, but you have to be at least 11 spins away from it. So this is really confusing as well. So I really wouldn't recommend this. Just the only way I would recommend skipping track swaps is with platinum tickets. Thank you all for watching. I will be doing a Battle Cats stream on Friday. If this helped, I would appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, as this really helps me out. Thank you all for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.